Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to EduTALK. EduTALK, as you know, is a weekly virtual talk show created out of the need for a global learning community. And we focus on topics in education that are relevant to our viewers right across the globe, featuring teachers, principals, business leaders, administrators. And this evening, we're going to be talking to a lawyer, prominent lawyer in Florida, and they share their expertise on critical topics facing education today with a common goal of moving education forward and our students upward. I'm your host, I'm Dr. Dwayne Dice, and I'm joined by Mrs. Michelle Fanger, Esquire, and she is a lawyer. She actually owns her own practice, is owner of the Fanger Law Firm, and she specializes in more than this, I think, and you will hear from her. She specializes in immigration and Florida family law. So if you have any cases out there that you need to get some clarity about, or you don't even know that it's a case, but you're going through something, you can check her out there in, is it in Jacksonville?
Yes, but I represent people all over,
All over.
the virtual world.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's where probably we should start. So before you even introduce yourself, just give us a little idea of what you cover in terms of law, Michelle.
Okay, as I was introduced, so I do family. So let me get, because that's a smaller part of my practice where I focus on divorce, child
Mm,
support, child custody, time sharing issues with individuals going through that process. But also my major area is immigration. So in immigration, I do various aspects of it, where I do migration through family. If you're relocating through family, whether it's a spouse, your parent, or if you're doing it through your child, through your parent, or if you are an adult and you're petitioning for your parent from another country. I
mm,
do that. That's a broad thing that a lot of people do, but I also do student visas where I assist students who want to come to the United States to study,
mhm,
or some who are already here and want to change their status. And also, I represent individuals who have extraordinary skills, who want to petition for themselves. It's
mhm,
called EB1, where you want to petition for yourself because you are an expert in your field, whether it is education itself,
mhm,
if you have your master's, multiple masters, doctorate, and you want to petition for yourself or you don't have a sponsor, or if you are an athlete or an artist.
mhm,
So you have those are individuals who do asylum. Those are
mhm,
individuals who fear going home because of the conditions or their lifestyle or their religious practices.
mhm.
So those are areas that I practice.
Oh, okay, that's quite a bit. It is quite a bit. Do you how many lawyers do you have working with you in the firm, in the Fanger law firm?
Well, right now it's only one, so it's individualized where I pay attention to all my cases. I handle all my cases.
Oh, that's
I know people always say they can't get a hold of their attorney.
yeah,
I make myself available
yeah,
and I handle everything from start to finish.
yeah,
I do have assistants
yeah.
and a paralegal that will step in to cover, but on the front, I handle everything at this
Okay.
point.
All right, good, good. So tonight we're talking about immigration law in terms of the student visa. Student visa, how you get it, how you keep it, and then transferring that visa from student visa to work. Um, why, before we get into the meat of the matter here, how did you get into this legal business?
Well, to be honest, growing up in Jamaica, you always have attorneys was like this job that everybody looked up to. It was dignified, how you conducted yourself with integrity. So there are a few lawyers that I looked up to growing up in my community. And I always love how they assisted others, be the voice for other individuals and trying to help them. So when I started, in Jamaica, you have to figure out kind of like you only have a couple tracks. I guess things change now. Either you want to be teacher, lawyer, or doctor. So that's what I wanted to do, law, just to help people to navigate the system. And then as I got into it, I basically actually did business because I wanted to focus more on corporate. So I got my bachelor's in economics and my master's in business administration. But then going through the immigration process and seeing how the lack of information does impact
Yes.
individuals and let them be in a precarious situation where they may be here unlawfully when they had leave. So that is why I more went towards immigration.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. That's it. The trigger is the purpose and trying to get him. A lot of people go into their careers not knowing that they'll end up there because of the need. They see the need and the impact on their personal lives too. Um, so and so you came to Florida and you started specializing in these different areas that you mentioned.
Yeah, so first I was in New York.
Oh,
I
really?
did my undergrad master's in New York.
Okay, I
But
didn't
then,
know that.
New York is kind of fast-paced.
Yes.
So you have to be keeping up, keeping up. And then I saw the opportunity to come to a smaller law school that
Mm-hmm.
was located here in Jacksonville, Florida. So
Mm-hmm.
then I decided to come here. And actually, the law school had a program that worked directly with the university in Jamaica, where
Mm-hmm.
they would have students go there for a semester.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I said, all right, because I wanted to do the Jamaica program, the 6 months program.
Mhm.
But things happen, so I could
Yeah.
practice in Jamaica and here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe in the future I'll do it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so that it was an attractive school because they worked directly with Jamaica in
Oh, the
regard.
UAE?
Yeah, UWI, they had
University
a
of
program at the time.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that at all. What's the name of the school in Florida?
It was for the Coastal School of Law.
Okay. Okay. Oh, wow.
They
Oh,
also work with the Cayman, like other Caribbean islands, because they have a
yeah.
Caribbean study program,
Yeah.
international law.
Oh, oh, wow. I had no idea about that at all. Okay. Now, when we talk about student visa, what exactly are we talking about here? Especially for international students, obviously for international students.
Yeah. So it is for individuals who want to migrate to the United States, because I'm familiar with the United States, because you could migrate to other countries. You could go to England. I heard of one of my friends went to Australia, China, but I'm focused on America because that's where I practice. So it's for students who prefer to come here because they have a better opportunity where they could major in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, Jamaica is limited in what areas you can study
Right.
and career directions.
Right.
So a lot of students would prefer to come here so they're able to get an education. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of them do return back home. I have friends who return back home in their specific field to
Mm-hmm.
really assist Jamaica with their advancement.
Mm-hmm.
So that is always a good
Yes,
thing.
how long is a student visa for? Like when I take out a student visa and I'm trying to get here, to the US we're talking about, how long is the duration of that visa before you renew it?
Well, it depends on the program you're doing, because sometimes it can take 4 years. Some
Mm-hmm.
of them are 1 year, some two. So it depends on the program you're doing and the school
Oh,
that you're with.
it's similar to work
So,
visa.
mm,
Is it similar to work visa that it depends on where you get the job and how
yeah,
long?
so yeah, it's kind of similar because they have restriction because before you could actually get the student visa, there are certain steps. You have to ensure that the school is a registered school
Mm-hmm.
with I want to say the SEPIS, that's a system where you go into. So students could actually attend school.
Mm-hmm.
The youngest I've done was elementary school. So you
Oh,
can start school from that age, get a student visa from that age. But you have to ensure that the school is a legitimate school
mm-hmm.
and they're able to issue you the I-120 that you would need. So
Okay.
the first step is to look up the school that you want to attend, whatever program, make sure they're registered, you pay a fee. Once you pay that fee, the school would usually issue you the I-120. The
Oh,
I-120 is what you'll need. But
mm-hmm.
before you even get to that step, you have to make sure you also meet the requirement.
Mm-hmm.
Because in addition to getting to the school, you have to be able to prove that you can pay your tuition and living expenses throughout the course of studying.
That is a lot.
Yeah, sometimes it's like a lot because you have to show the money up front.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to have the money in your bank account and assets. So that's why a lot of people do scholarships.
Yeah,
So it's
okay.
always important to, like, if you intend to relocate, to also look into scholarship
Okay.
options
That's very
that you're able to get into.
mm-hmm.
And you have some companies that will show you how to get it
Mm-hmm.
from Jamaica or whichever country you're from.
Yeah.
But I know this is just a thing I've noticed, like a lot of the rural schools, this information is not fully filtered
Yeah.
to the rural schools, that you have this opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to get scholarships that
Yeah.
will allow you to come here to study. If you find a school, you look into their international program to see how best
Mm-hmm.
you could fund, because sometimes you get partial scholarship or full scholarship.
Yeah.
But
And
it's good if the information is filtered out to everybody so they know that it's available to
right.
everyone.
So, and you have worked with numerous students.
Yes.
What are some of can you share publicly some of those the major schools that you have worked with students to get into?
Well, I've assisted students to get into St. John's in New York.
Yeah, yeah. St. John's is a good
Yeah,
school.
University of Michigan.
Yeah. Oh,
Usually I do a lot of the CUNY system in
yeah,
New York.
yeah,
And I've worked through the system in Florida. But the reason why I always push people towards New York
yeah.
is because with their system, you could get the quality education, like even going through the community college
Mm,
first,
yeah.
because it's cheaper
Yes, yes.
to get into the community college. Because if you can't afford to pay the big tuition, you can at least do a year, because you can't transfer a program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you could get in like the first year of community college, getting your basic subject. You could afford that
Mm-hmm.
and then go on, like work. I mean, not work, I mean, get scholarships or
Scholarships,
whatever.
right,
So that's
right.
why I focus. In other instances, I have where children try to get into, well, New York, no. In Florida, you'd have to go to the private, but in New York for like high schools,
Mm-hmm.
and no, you don't need any documentation to like really go to a school in
Right.
New York. So
Yeah.
it's kind of harder. People want to do the student visa now. We'll have to look at private institutions,
Mm-hmm.
assist them to get into private institution. A
Oh,
lot of people, like sometimes surprisingly, like younger children, they prefer to send them here to get them into the system to
mm-hmm.
start school. So
Yeah,
they,
even high school.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I wanted to ask you, it has been on my mind for a long time. Since we get visas, student visas to come to the US, eh, what does it take for a US student to study in Jamaica?
You know,
It's just that they just go there and enroll them and everything is
they
fine.
usually enroll them, but it's supposed to get um permission, especially for US citizen
Yeah,
children when they leave the country.
yeah,
But surprisingly, people just bring the children to Jamaica and they just attend school.
yeah. Oh,
But it should be a process, because I remember when I was applying for the UE program,
yeah,
which I didn't end up doing, it didn't ask about any, like visa or anything
yeah,
to
yeah.
the program. I noticed it. I guess it's more lax in Jamaica.
You seem like,
It's just like if it's an issue, because usually with some parents, like here, you have to have explicit permission from both
yes,
parents to send
yes,
a child to Jamaica. So you don't want to have issues where they're saying you're kidnapping the child.
right.
So I guess you get permission
Hmm.
from the both parents to send the child to
Yeah,
Jamaica. But I don't know if Jamaica have, because I'm not really fully familiar,
yeah,
but based on what I've seen, I don't see where they have an issue. They just send the child, they start school.
yeah. And we have good education system in Jamaica. We just need
Great.
resources, but I can tell you, hands down, Jamaican system is really, really good. Um, so how long does it take? So let's say you're in the process of getting a student visa as a student, and you identify the school, you reach out to the school, and so on. How long does it take from start to getting on campus for that student?
Okay, so in regards to colleges, you have to look at when the semester starts. So before the start date, you have to figure out when you're gonna start, spring or fall. So
Mhm,
you have to work within the timeline. One thing I could say is that you have to be on top of the school itself. But
mhm.
that's what I have to do continuously. So in regards, it can go quickly, like everything can be done within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because it's just for the school to look, provide the documents that they need, such as the financial the individual you're staying with. If you're going to stay off campus, you have to
Mhm.
provide all that information and tax information, and then they sign off on it. And
Mhm.
once they sign off on it, you meet the requirement. Like they usually tell you what you need to provide to them. So once they provide a comprehensive package to them where nothing is missing, then they get it immediately. Usually some school turnaround is like a week or less,
Wow.
but you have to be on them.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
can't like leave it and say, okay, they'll get back to you. It's
yeah.
a thing where you have to follow up with the international department, whoever is responsible, you have to follow because remember, there are children from individuals from all over the world
Right.
that is trying to get into these schools.
Mhm.
So it could take that. So once that is done, the next step is just to go and apply for the visa. Since COVID, they have waived a lot of the interviews.
Okay.
So that is good. And to be honest, the last one I did was for the last semester. The dates, usually I get the date the next day or 2 day.
Mhm.
Once I submit, pay the fees and everything because they waive the interview. So usually you just go to Kingston because I do the ones in Jamaica,
Yeah.
and they just bring their passport and copies of all the documentation that
Oh.
was submitted. Because I usually send like everything I submit,
Mhm.
I send with the clients so that if they have any questions, they have it there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because you don't want them to say, all right, come back. You need to come back and bring this document and delay it. Because
Mhm.
usually the schools have a timeline also
Yeah.
for you to get on campus or show up to the school for orientation.
Yeah, that's
And you
what.
don't want to miss that date.
Yeah. Are you working in with particular schools in Jamaica that you're definitely gonna get some students from there to apply for international visa and other Caribbean islands as well?
Well, I'm in the process
Mhm.
of doing that right now. And also in the process of trying to get a system with getting work programs
Yeah.
for students.
Mhm.
So I'm in the process of that, but I haven't worked directly with any student. It's just like because I'm an attorney, people reach out to
Reach
me
out to you. Yeah. What about,
regards to that.
okay, so so now the visa process and students get into school and they're working towards finishing up their degrees and so on. How do they transition from being a student, having a student visa to, let's say they need a work, they want to stay a little bit longer, they want to work. How do they go about, what do you call it? Transition from a student visa
Transition.
to work. Yeah, how does that?
Okay. So there are different ways you can transition. And one
Mhm.
thing I want to point out too while you were talking is that it's very important for people to understand that the student visa is just a student visa. And
Right.
a visitor B1, B2 visa is just a visitor's visa. So
Mhm.
when you're coming in to the country, you have to be clear and state on what, because some people have the visitor's visa and the student visa. You have to be clear on what status you're coming. If you're coming in to study, or if you're coming in to visit. If
Mhm.
you're coming to visit, you can change status to a student visa if you have never had a student visa. You can change status. But to your question, okay, for the first half of student visa, you cannot work off campus. You usually have to work on the school campus if you are allotted. But after that, you can get work authorization to work in your field.
Mhm.
Right? People, it's how you structure it, but you're
Yeah.
able to get your work authorization. So people do that. And then what some individuals do is that while they're working, sometimes those employers will sponsor them. So they're able to switch to the HB visa.
How long does it take though? I like asking about the duration.
Well, to switch, if there are no hiccups and you
Mm.
have the sponsorship where they'll sponsor you, and it's a process, it could be the shortest one I've done was 3 to 4 months, four
Oh.
months. But it's
Mm.
just to get, as I said, when you're doing the process, the thing is that you have to make sure you have all the required documents and what is needed so you don't miss a step. Because
Yeah.
each time you miss something, it delays the process. So, and another way individuals switch their status is if they do get married,
Mhm.
they can change their status. With a lot of people, like through college, they will meet their spouse
Mhm.
and then they decide to get married and to change their status.
Oh,
It's always good to maintain your status,
yeah,
because you don't want to be, without status. I don't like to say illegal, but
yeah.
without
Without
status
shadows, yeah.
in the US, right?
It's
So that's
strange.
also important.
Um, it is very, very strange when you're here and you know the conversations around, are you going back? Are you staying? What do you want to do? A lot of students might want to stay and work for a little bit longer, and then go back. Is it possible that they could get the work visa, or maybe my question would should be, is it similar to the work visa that people will get from in their host country to come and work over here, like a cultural exchange visa? Is the visa similar to that, where once the work is done, you know, the transition visa from student visa, you get a work visa from being a student? Um, is it that you have to leave after X time? Is it a similar process?
Yeah, so usually it's a similar process. So when you get a work authorization, you have various categories you could get the work
Right.
authorization under. So
Okay.
most of them is limited.
Mhm.
So you have to follow what the limit is on that visa. You can file an extension if it's warranted, where they will allow you an extension. I
Mhm.
always recommend before you let it expire, like some people wait until last week before it expire. If you know you might want an extension, at least 3 months before,
Mhm.
apply for an extension so you know, or you switch status so you'll know before your actual status expire that is they're gonna deny it if it's gonna be denied. So I
Okay.
always say do things 3 months before any date expires.
Yeah.
So so you're not left in limbo. But you can. Some people, what they have done is that they have decided to return home and then seek employment
Mhm.
through an employer. So they return home
Yeah.
and do the process there. But if you are not out of status and there's no restrictions, you
Mhm.
are able to change your status while you're in the United States, as long as it didn't overstay or didn't expire.
Okay. Okay.
And because the same thing, like a lot of people come on a J1, that is
Yeah.
for like teachers,
Mhm.
etc. come on, but they have like a 2 year restriction
Right.
where they can't do anything, or because some restriction they can't like switch jobs because the other job has to approve it. You can't like outright go look a job and
Yeah.
then they have to return back home. So it's always good to figure out what restrictions you have under your various visas.
Yeah. Very good. Useful information for people. Now, the last question, I think we're winding down now. I have about 10 minutes or less.
Come on, that's
Um,
quick.
yeah, yeah. This idea of lawyers, you know, like people are afraid of lawyers a lot to get them involved in their business and so on. So as a lawyer, how is a lawyer very important in this process in terms of student visa, getting a student visa, working through the process of in school, keeping in touch with that lawyer. And when they finish and they want to work, the lawyer will help them to transition to a work visa, and then finding out what else they can do with their legal status. How is a lawyer super important, like yourself in this case, because you have done numerous ones of these?
Well, I always say it's important to use a lawyer because they're very familiar with the law itself and whatever changes are taking place, especially in immigration. A lot of things
Yeah.
change. Forms will change overnight. Like last week, I was about to submit a form because what I do is I always look before I mail out documents.
Yes.
I just did it the night before. The next morning, I look at it. The form changed. It's a new form
Wow.
and you wouldn't have noticed it. So they're familiar with it. They're familiar with the changes, especially they keep up with the changes. So you will know. If you don't use an attorney, I always say consult with an attorney because the worst thing is that people will listen to individuals within the community or wherever will say, I know something. And
Mhm.
sometimes that information is outdated and incorrect. and it mess up your status unnecessarily. So I always say, even if you don't want to pay the fee for an attorney, take the time to consult with one.
Yes.
Because like on my end, I will sit you through and go through your options and what you can do. And then you decide, I want to hire you or not. But I prefer people, because I have people come to me several times. I didn't know I could have done this. And I'm like, you had that option.
Yes.
But you listen to somebody else, I know you have to pay double the money to try to correct it.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
always say use an attorney through the process. A lot of the schools kind of make it easier to transition and assist you with it. But as I said, oftentimes some drop the ball, and it is an issue where sometimes you have to keep up with them to ensure that it is done correctly and you meet your deadlines and you actually fulfill your requirement within the visa that you have. So
Yeah.
you don't, mess up yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes too, like I got a call the other day it's not a student visa, but with a J1, where the employer decide I don't want you anymore. And like what to do. So, so these things is like, it's always good to have an attorney
Yes.
on hand. So you're able to talk to them to help you navigate, like, what is your next step? What is your option in
Yeah.
regards to the matter at hand?
Yeah, yeah, that's real, very real. Yeah, I'm glad you said it very clear. Because some people would say, no, me know what to do, and I can do it by myself. I know the documents, I can download and fill them out, but they even fill them out wrong. That's what happened to me a couple of years ago with the
You did?
yeah, and everything you're saying is very true. I had to call somebody, an attorney, and they said, let me fix a couple of these for you,
Yeah.
and resubmit it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's real. It's real.
Yeah, it's a real thing, because like I always say, like, people go and they say, what but me just read it and do. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, that
No.
was wrong. That's
Yeah.
incorrect.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's always good. I always say consult with somebody, even if you don't want to pay the full fee, consult
Yeah.
and navigate the process. And another thing I want to highlight, which I know your program goes all over,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially for individuals within the rural areas that
Yeah.
feel like they're
Yeah.
trapped,
Mm-hmm.
where like you don't want to go UWI because you have ambitions, maybe of being a radiologist or something else, and
Mm-hmm.
but it's not offered here, so you just like, all right, I just do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you have option where you could just look into schools here or wherever, because even China, different
Yeah.
countries offer programs. And then once you figure out the school, the program, then you can apply. And oftentimes they offer scholarships. So
Yeah.
even if you're saying I can't afford it, there are several scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
And also for people, you can do a little running, like you run a little, play soccer. You
Yeah.
have like schools, like they're not, maybe not in New York or LA, but Idaho,
Yeah.
Arkansas, that
Mhm.
will take,
Michigan.
yeah, Michigan, and offer you a scholarship.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I had a friend years ago and she left and she went to Louisiana. She went to
Mm-hmm.
little university in Louisiana. Nobody heard about it, but they accepted because they want their ratio of they need some international.
Oh, mix, yeah.
Yeah. So and then she transferred to one of the well-known universities
Yeah,
afterward. Yeah,
you
and they
could do that
paid
after.
yeah. You have a show. I think it's called Legal Talk, where you give advice.
Yes.
Yeah. What is was the purpose behind that? Some of what you shared here that you need information to be out. What prompted you to just get mediarized?
I'm trying. But that's the same reason, to give the information so that people can assist themselves. Like knowledge, it's knowledge is power. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people are not aware of things and they keep making minor mistakes that are actually major
Mm.
mistakes. Because even to my program, like with my clients too, I counsel them. Like if there's a young child coming in, like they think, oh, I get green card and whatever. And I usually guide them and say, you know what, you have to be careful who you hang around and what you do, because
Yeah.
you're a green card holder. Because I've had clients in the past that never knew they were green card holders, got involved in college in like petty crime,
Mm-hmm.
and they were the ones that got deported. The
Right.
other people were citizens, but they did not know they were not, a citizen because their parents didn't tell them.
Yeah, yeah,
Another thing I always try to do is encourage parents, like once you become a citizen, petition for your child, get that done for your child so they could become a citizen.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
you never know what could happen that could prevent them from living the American dream. So the
Yeah,
program is just to provide basic information that
yeah.
I think to me is basic, but to others it's major.
True,
Just
true.
like how I talk to people about like when they have people coming here and they have them in their homes, like working and doing things not paying them. And I'm like, they're not supposed to be doing that. You're entitled to a relief where it's labor, it's a labor violation.
Yeah,
Whether it's your aunt, your uncle, like it's a labor violation, you're able to get a relief through that, which is called the T visa. A lot
yeah,
of people like don't know about that. So they take abuse, like somebody will say, stay with us status, they have you doing everything.
yeah,
And
yeah.
also you have children that come here and their parents will say, I'll petition for you. And they don't do it.
Oh,
And years go by. So children are entitled to various relief. So that's why I do the program, just to give out, like anytime I hear a little thing that could help out
yeah, yeah.
somebody, I just do it on my show and talk about it so people know that they're entitled to certain relief.
I'm gonna get you to come back on to talk about some family law too. Yeah, because it's you know this already, but I'm just saying it. The family, a lot of people don't know about family law, the different areas of family law that they can get help through, and if something happened, they need to get legal advice on, and
Mhm.
they don't move on it. So we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, that is true. And I'm not yeah, that's a major thing. That's why I started doing family because I realized a lot of individuals, like sometimes they're married to citizens, but they don't know their rights in regards to their children
Yes,
or what rights they have within their household.
true, true.
So that is always an issue, and I have
Yeah.
to educate them about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle Fanger, Esquire, for coming on EduTalk and sharing about student visa and a bunch of other things too. Student visa, how to get a student visa, where to look, the legal advice around student visa, and then transitioning from student visa to work, because many of us, we want to work, we want to stay and work for a little bit longer. Thank you so very, very much. And keep up the wonderful work that you're doing. And
Thank you, and you too. You're doing the
thank
best
you.
program.
Thank you so much. We'll have you back on here again, as I said,
Thank you.
to talk about some things about family law. Thank you so much. Enjoy your week.
You too.
Viewers, thank you. Thank you so much, viewers, for being on. I wish you all the best for this week, and we'll see you again next week with another episode of EduTalk. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye,
Have a good
everybody. Yeah, bye-bye.